Good morning, Colts Nation. Welcome back to another episode of the No Horsing Around podcast, brought to you exclusively by the Lounge Room Network. As always, I am one of two dudes talking Colts. I'm your host, Stephen Burton, and y'all, it's back. It's finally back. I mean, we haven't done this since January of last year. It is the Dadgum Players of the Week. I couldn't be more excited. I legitimately couldn't be more excited to do this. I've waited months. So, for those who are just now joining, since we started the podcast way back in the day, we always did something called the Dadgum Players of the Week, which is basically the players of the week that we have. So, this is our lovely new logo. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, you'll see it stamped on things on Twitter, on YouTube, on our players that we select for each week. I'm pumped. I'm pumped that it's back. I'm pumped that we're going to get to do it. Zach's going to get to do it. You guys are going to get to see it. So let's just jump in. Let's just go right into this, and let's talk about who we think these players are. So obviously, like I said, it's the Dadgum Players of the Week. You tend to be 3 to 4 players most of the time. Try to hit both sides of the ball a little bit. Try to see both of them. See what we think. See who kind of shakes out. Preseason's a little difficult because you only get to see so much. And some of y'all are going to look down at the bottom of this screen and you're going to see my scrolling names and you're going to say, what the heck, Steven? There's no Eason. There's no Ellinger. Well, y'all, man, we're beating that horse, man. My boy Zach's got a great video that's going to be dropping on Wednesday. That is Eason versus Ellinger part 2, round 2, ding, ding, all that fun stuff. So we're not going to beat that horse on this one. We're just not. We're not going to keep going over it. So we're going to go a little different. We're going to touch on a little bit of different guys. Okay. So first and foremost, we have our boy Marvell Tell. Okay. So Marvell Tell, he looked good yesterday. He's off for a year. He opted out. He looked good 2 years ago. We've talked about this, but he opted out. He didn't play last year. No one really knew what to expect. Stat line isn't eye-popping. It's not the most eye-popping stat line. 2 tackles, 1 pass batted down. But, I mean, he was very much around the ball. We know that corner is a position that is slightly weak for us. We're unsure. We have Rock, we have Carey, we have Rhodes, we have Kenny, of course. But that other position is in fluctuation a little bit, so we don't really know. So the way he looked in the game looked like someone who could compete for that spot. Y'all know I love me some Rock Ya-Sin. I've bet a jersey on him actually being a Pro Bowl type player this year. But I've also said he will only lose the job. He will, if someone will take it, not necessarily, but he will lose it. Reich will lose confidence in him, and he will lose that job if he's no longer the starter. Marvell's someone who looks good, man. He looks really, really good. I came away impressed. He was around the ball a lot, got a lot of attention from the announcers. So, I mean, I liked him, you guys. I thought he looked really good. He looked crisp. He looked like he hadn't really been off for an entire year. I know we've all been really curious what he's been doing for the last year, but he didn't look like he's sitting at home eating Krispy Kremes. I'll tell you that much. So next one up. So obviously, before we do that, let's just do the phrase. Marvell Tell is one of my Dadgum Players of the Week. So let's go to the next one. Y'all know I could not have him on. Desmond Pittman, man. Desmond Pittman looked really, really good, especially when he was in the game with Eason. And that was early on. Eason seemed to really focus in on him, and he looked to have developed. They kept joking a Washington to Washington State connection, a Husky to a Cougar connection, but he looked good. 3 receptions, 67 yards. Sticky hands. He seemed to have some really sticky hands to him when he was in the game. I joked on the podcast on the live stream reaction show that I kind of had to pinch myself a couple of times, because I forgot he was in number 10, and I'm so used to seeing our boy Reese Fountain in 10. that it threw me off. Uh, but he looked good. He looked like he had developed. He looks like he understands more of the route tree now. Uh, and he seems to have a connection with Eason. So that's going to be really interesting to see kind of as it progresses throughout the preseason and as we get into the season, because y'all are going to notice on the ticker at the bottom, I got 2 receivers on my Dadgum Players, but we've had this really long discussion on 5 or 6. The number me and Zach have come up with now is 6. There's going to be 6 receivers. I think Patman makes the team, but he doesn't bring anything special teams wise. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a very interesting thing to see what happens in regards to that spot. And does he make the team? Or is he practice squad bound? Is he PS bound again to where he's not going to be able to see the field? I'm interested. He came out. He looked great. He looked like a guy who wants that spot. So obviously Desmond Pittman is one of my Dadgum Players of the week. So let's see. We want to keep going. I mean, we just want to keep kind of dropping this knowledge on you guys every once in a while. So next up, you see him. Y'all know I love him, man. We had a video we did. It's Michael Strawn. Okay. So we had a video. We talked about him in the live stream. He was a big topic of conversation in the comments that we got from you guys. He's our largest video ever. I mean, it's at 1.7K, which is insane. That you that he's picking up this steam. But he came out and all he did was 3 receptions, 57 yards. He did have a drop, but I'm going to put that some on Eason because he fired that 98-mile-an-hour fastball in there from like 5 yards out, and Strawn just wasn't, he wasn't ready. He didn't have his hands up all the way. It kind of hit him in the fingertips. He wasn't going to bring that in. But man, oh man, I said it last time. Dude high pointed the ball. Y'all see it in the picture if you're watching on YouTube. He went up and he took it several times. Guy's got just a body built for the NFL. He really, really does. I mean, he reminds us, Zach's talked about it. Plaxico Burress, Terrell Owens, Brandon Marshall, they're all really great comps because he's just this big body receiver who's not afraid to go get the ball. And there was a lot of discussion about him leading into this first preseason game. We had a lot of discussion. National media had a lot of discussion about him. And the question was, is he just a training camp star? We've all seen them, okay? We've all seen training camp studs. Deion Kane comes to mind. Reese Fountain comes to mind. People who look really good in training camp, and they doesn't extrapolate to the actual games. Well, his did. His moved in that direction, and he made the plays he needed to play. The thing that I came away most impressed with Strawn was the game was not too big for him. None of these guys. The game was not too big for any of them. Specifically, I was very impressed with Strawn because, Patman played at Washington State. That's a good crowd. That's a rabid college environment. Marvell Tell, I believe, played at Texas A&M. That's a really rabid one. So, I mean, and then you have Strawn. Charleston. Like, we've seen the pictures of him in college where it looks like he's playing in a high school stadium. Dude had to go to his pro day at West Virginia because Charleston didn't offer one. So I was interested to see, is the moment too big? Are the lights too bright for him? And man, it wasn't. It wasn't too bright. It wasn't too big. I was very impressed. I was very, very impressed with him. And he continues to shine. I mean, we've said it. We'll do our 53-man roster. He's making the roster. He's making the team. I don't really think that it's in question unless he bottomed out. Because if they cut him, he's not getting to the practice squad. So, yet again, Michael Strawn is one of my Dadgum Players of the week. So, who's the final one? Who is it, you guys? Y'all may ask, I feel like some people are going to think I'm crazy. I do. Obviously, I talked with my boy Zach before this, and he was curious too. And obviously, I really like Kamoko Toure, you guys. His stat line does not pop. It does not scream Dadgum Player. 0 sacks. I was hunting trying to see because I felt like there'd be more pressures. I couldn't get the stats in time to pop the video up, but I feel like he was constantly in the backfield. He was always a presence inside the pocket in the quarterback's face. He was always there. He looked fast. He looked healthy. He had spring. He had quickness. He had twitch. He was going. He was moving the entire game that he was in there. He looked like 2 years ago before his injury. We all kept saying, dude's on the verge of popping, dude's on the verge of popping. And then just that horrific ankle injury that no one could have predicted. And it took forever for him to get healthy. He wasn't healthy when he came back last year, and it showed. He had the huge mental blunder in the Buffalo game of the offsides call. Then we find out, he has another ankle surgery to clean it up during the offseason, which proved even more he was not healthy last year. He looks healthy. He looks healthy. He looks quick. I loved everything that I saw from him. I loved the D line. I could have named probably 10 players off of the defense for the Dadgum Players of the Week, but I didn't want to. I like to mix it up. So, all in all, came away impressed. Like I said, you can get upset. I don't have Easton. I don't have Ellinger. I don't have them on here. I don't want to beat that horse, you guys. We beat that horse enough with all the different shows that we've done about them. I don't want to beat that. I want to be a little different in this one. I want to give you guys something to kind of swish around your head. You guys got players? Hey, drop it in the comments. Tell me who you think are the Dadgum Players of the Week, and we'll roll with that. We'll see. We're going to do this every week. As we get to the season, it's going to be even more fun because the games matter. So, as always, you guys, I ask you guys, please rate, review, subscribe, share. You're going to notice if you're watching the video, it's kind of taken off for us lately, is that we were trying to come up with something funny about subscribe, what you need to do. And the one that seems to click is teabag the subscribe button, Big Q style, baby. So if you look up in the top left corner, bam, there's Big Q, you guys. Big Q's telling you make sure you hit that subscribe button. I got nothing else, man. I'm so pumped for this season. We're so thankful to you guys for tuning in. And I got nothing else, you guys. I love you. I know Zach loves you. I'm out of here.